Right, so it's pretty early morning on Tuesday. I have 20 minutes before I need to put a coat of paint on an organ pipe. So I'll make a start on this. I'm now continuing with my AM only little mini series. We did the Midland 199A, which I'd imported from Ireland. Now, to use an AM radio in the UK, it has to be a MultiNorm, which is CE approved, built after 2014, or one of these which has been built in a similar kind of era, which is AM only but CE approved. It is a MultiNorm, but it's an AM only MultiNorm, and it does normal CPT 40 channels, and it does Polish 40 channels, which are a different set of frequencies. So it's a plastic set. That surprised me. I know there was a President which was a plastic set. This has been bought second hand from France. And apart from the fuse in the cigarette lighter breaking, which I've now replaced, it seems to have come here without too many issues. The idea is we're going to sort this out. I mean, it's a very recent set, and the current version is now AM/FM, but that would take us away from testing pure AM sets. The idea was to test a couple of pure AM sets to get a benchmark. And legality aside, we're not going to be using old clunkers. We're just not going to be doing that. They've got to be CE approved. So, one of the advantages of CE approval is there's a minimum receiver specification. So we're not going to get Fidelity 1000 kind of receive. I can think there was a lot of AM sets that were... I mean, talking to people in America, there was some real trash on the market. So there we go. So, Bob, I'm not a big Midland fan, and in recent years the current models are so feature packed that it slows down the operation. All this adjust weight. I haven't got time for that. I just want sets with a squelch knob that work. But this is a lower end set. It's probably the entry model, with it being the way it is, and it's a good contender. I understand there's a President AM only set as well, which is currently on the market. We won't go down that avenue. We're only buying two. We're going to get our benchmark, and then we can do all our results knowing what AM to AM is. This will be the last set that we test this evening on our Midland 78 Plus Multi in the test car, because that will be changed tomorrow for the other AM set. We'll do one test that way, so we're going 8 pure AM to pure AM, and then the set will be changed once more, and it will be the Thunderpole T3000 for the foreseeable future. I think that's going to work better on AM, and it's going to be a lot easier to change between the bands. The other way would be to put Harvard 420M in the test car, but we wouldn't then be able to do CPT things at all. We'd get better results on UK FM though. So I need a fresh sheet of paper, because having told you all that spiel, I'm just about run out of time. But I'd like to get some tests in. I've downloaded the instruction book, printed it out, spiral bound it, managed to find the right pages in English from 80-something pages. It has a specification. I don't know whether it's BS. This looks right, 90% modulation. I'm sure it does do 4 watts. Got decent audio output. It says it's, what does it say, sensitivity? Better than 1 microvolt, so we'll see. Usually AM sets are less sensitive than FM sets. And that doesn't help your range, does it? So I think it's the 27th today. It must be so rubbish, I haven't given it a number, they've just given it 0. It's got PA on this one. It starts Q150555474. Having come from France, I no doubt it will only speak in French to us. So we'll switch the power supply on, 13.8 volts, not supposed to be a dodgy set, and we'll switch it on. fine because I haven't connected it up to the cigarette lighter plug. And once again, because it's a multi-norm, even though it's an AM only multi-norm, we've got the startup code. Don't know what that means. It's in PA, isn't it? And now it's in emergency. Hey, works now. Well, I'll tell you what, let's tick PA off our list. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. That works really nicely. It's on the volume control. There's no filter on the display. It's so cheap and nasty. That's just the bare display under there. RF gain is going to want to go full. The place this came from looked like they did house clearances and that type of thing. I don't think they are radio enthusiasts at all. Right, so put picture in picture on. I'll tell you that so that if it doesn't appear, you know I actually press the button. And we now have 3 watts exactly. We also know the mic and the speaker work, the PA function works. Low power won't be on here because it's not a UK 2781 set, and the current consumption 1.04, usually a bit more on AM, take more current than FM sets on transmit. So we'll just pop this onto channel, we're a bit more on channel 40, it's 3.1 watts. And on channel 1 it's 2.9 watts. It'd be nice if we could balance that, but it's not out of spec. So it's not, this is AM only, so it's AM mod. At the moment, let's go back to channel 20. This didn't come cheap, I think I paid €59 for it. I could have got the newer AM FM model for less, but that would have defeated the object. 1 2, where are we? That's it. 1 2, wallow. It's about at the moment, and we'll verify it on the other test set, it's about 85%. I'd like it a little higher. Won't be doing that. Test set's been on 10 minutes. I'll show you that. I'm not going to write this down yet because it wouldn't be fair. 27204 now. I think it's going to be spot on by the time things have warmed up. So let's get the signal generator on the job and let's see what the sensitivity is. I don't expect there's any adjustments. So it's 27205. If you wonder why I don't use the test set behind me for CBs, apart from when I need to verify deviation and that, it doesn't. The lowest it goes is 88 meg, so it's no good for CB radio. It'll test transmitters lower down than that, but it won't do receive. That's why I can use its deviation meter. Right, there we go. So we'll plug the synapse meter in. Knock the connector off. 1.3. No, we'll go to the scale. Naught 0.95. And 3. Squelch. One millivolt is too tight. And threshold. It's a bit too tight as well. There's no meter. Suits me down to the ground. Right, take picture and picture back off. So yeah, the radio works fine, and we'll see what's inside. Well, it's not going to be the same chassis as the other set because it's a more compact case. And then at that point I'm going to disappear to paint the next organ pipe, and then I will go and do the shopping for the old lady who was 94 in Grantham, who I do the shopping for. And by that time hopefully the on the air test is uploaded for yesterday's TTI CB. Can't get into here. What's that about? The sticker filled up the cross point in the screw. Right, so it's very high quality. It's a steel. It's an aluminium or it's a steel chassis, isn't it? Steel chassis. It's just the top and bottom that are plastics. The modulation transformers that uses that technique, and we do have some adjustments. Whatever it is, the board says KS102. Frequency adjust is going to be there. And other than that, we've got 1, 2, 3. So I would think we're going to have power, squelch, and modulation. So it's fiberglass board, and that's really nicely made. Don't think that's a 3-inch speaker though, it could be 2.5. Right, we'll pause it at that and we'll come back after a few chores. Right folks, I'm back. I have 20 minutes before lunch. So what I did do before I disappeared was I did a photograph of this. Let's get it the right way around. You can actually see this better than the actual radio. We can see we've got an adjustable coil here, which will be for the detector or for shaping the IF. We've got the filter there for the 455 IF. So we'll find out now what these presets do. We'll switch back on. All this switch on melody, you know, it's so that you can't or don't attempt to use the radio while it's booting up. That's all it's about. So we'll look at frequency, because we may as well do that now. Right, so we're going to have to unplug the extension speaker. Usual feedback problem. We've still got a feedback problem. We've got to unplug the speaker because it's not... I think it's interfering into the test equipment, to be honest. So with 27.205.05, I'm not touching that. So as predicted, it's spot on. Twenty-seven 205.05. 27.205.05. So the trimmer for that is there. So that'll be the crystal filter for receive, which is now, if it's CE approved, it's going to be have quite a sharp receiver specification. So the audio IC is there, so I would expect that's going to be either modulation or transmit power. So let's put up the main meter, key it up and try not to give it myself feedback. It's power. It does 4.7 watts at full whack, so it's certainly got the power, which is great. So that is something we can note. I'll colour these in later. So we're going to have modulation. So I'm thinking this preset is round the area of the receiver. I'm just thinking this way. I'd expect that to be squelch. It's hard to tell though. So we'll put the audio monitor on. So we're 80 something percent there. It's not that one. It's that one. Wallow. That's now 93%. Transmit power requirement is 1.2 amps with no modulation. If I speak wallow, it rises to 1.8 amps. That's always the case with AM. So let's just change channels. So on channel 40 the radio is doing 4 watts. On channel 1 the radio is doing 4 watts. Excellent. So really we've only now got, all we can do is look at the detector. So we'll put 27205 on the signal generator. See where we are with that. Just put that on exactly. coarse and fine on this, so it can be a juggling match. That's about where it is, the set is, so that's really good. So plug the extension speaker back in. By that I mean the test equipment one. And with a decent signal, let's put 100 microvolts on. We'll put the oscilloscope on. That's RF gain I was fiddling with. We'll put the oscilloscope on and we'll have a look at what's happening with this. So I'm a big believer that these multi-norms should have two filters, because I think it should be different for AM and FM. And you'd think that at cheap end sets, fair enough it isn't, but you'd expect at the £270 end that it would, but it isn't. So let's see what happens. Yes, it's just like we'd have on a FM set. So we'll just turn the volume down. I've improved that. And now we'll read off what the cyanide is now. There won't be any difference, I'm sure. But let's see. Probably fixed it worse. So for 12 dB, 1.2 microvolts. For 10 dB, put more volume on. Not 0.97. For 20 dB, it's 3. There's no change. Squelch, slightly different, but there's no change. So with 100 microvolts, squelch to full. So this preset must be squelch. So it's just opening at 100. So exactly where I want it. So there's no hard and fast rule on this, but it's just my 40 years of experience in two-way radio that determines that 100 microvolts is the right place. There are textbooks which will verify that. So 100 microvolts, and you certainly don't want one of those squelchers that never ever opens. Oh, it's so strong, the squelch, it never opens. Well, let's have a look where our sensitive point is. Put the signal generator to standby. There we are, set squelch. Signal generator on. It's 1.45. That's a great improvement, but I'd have liked it around 1. So we're going to see how Scratchy Corner works. So we know that is frequency, We know that's detector. We know that's mod. And we know that that is squelch. Good. I don't know whether I've still got the other one on the clipboard. I've been waiting a few days. The vendor for that was on holiday. Oh, there it is, yes. So we didn't manage to get 4 watts out of the one. We got 3.6, but 3.6 is 4 of anybody else's watts. So we've got better receive sensitivity. We've got 0.78 on the Midland 199. On this one, we've got 1.2. So, but you know, it's all horses for courses. I could go and buy another 3 the same, and they'll all be different figures. But we're not. We're just buying the 2. And once we've got that benchmark figure, we know where we are. So that brings us up to lunchtime. So what I'll simply do, I'm going to verify this is doing the modulation I'm expecting on the test set behind me. And then if all is okay, we'll put it on the aerial and we'll go 19 Roger and not get anyone. Okay, so that's made up our photograph, transmit power, AM modulation, frequency, AM detector, and squelch. Much easier than the FM sets. So we will plug in, make sure I've filled in all this. I've filled it all in, yes. We'll put it on the aerial. One niner Roger. Well, that was pretty quiet, wasn't it? Right, well, we'll do an on-the-air test later on, so that'll be our last on-the-air test of the Midland 78 MultiNorm in the test car. Then I say next day we'll temporarily put one of these 2 in, do an AM to AM, set our benchmark so we know where we are with AM, and then we'll fit the Thunderpole 3000 and we'll carry on. The next radio we'll be doing will be a Rotel RVC 230 for a customer. So there we are, the Midland M-Zero CE approved AM only set. Thanks for watching.